Hi everyone, welcome to Words of a Psychologist. This is a no-frill content platform for mental health and related topics. Today we have with us Swasti Jain and Shannon Fernandes. Both are people living with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I am very grateful to them for agreeing to do this. Thank you so much for coming in. Can both of you introduce yourselves one by one? I don't think I'll be the best, I don't think I'll be an objective person, especially for describing Swasti. So I think you guys should describe yourselves. Yeah.
Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Swasti. You might know me as Gen Z therapist. I am founder of this page and I'm also working as a counseling psychologist with Physics Wala. I'm a tutor, teacher, trainer, facilitator, educator. And yeah, that is all. I love to dance apart from that. So, yes.
Thank you, Swasti. Shannon, would you like to share your introduction?
Yeah, I'm Shannon, and I'm a content creator who runs the page Dionysi. Yes, that is how it's pronounced. And I'm also the head, in a way, of CEO of my company, Cogverge, which creates psychometric assessments for companies and even helps with edtech at the moment. That is what we're working on. I was also visiting faculty for master students for a while, taught them stats and psychometry. So, yeah, that's me.
And Shannon, there's also new thing, no? The one where you are also teaching psychology
Wait,
students.
edtech.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And both of you are definitely on many boats. Um, that is such a typical feature that I see, especially like even I am neurodivergent. For anyone who's watching, I am also on the ADHD spectrum, got diagnosed finally recently. And okay, so that brings me, thank you so much, Shannon. That brings me to my first question to the both of you. When did you find out that you have ADHD? How old were you?
Let's go from the recent. Let's go, Swasti.
Okay. So, when did I got to know was 2, 3 years back. I would be 21, 22, but I also got diagnosed this year itself in January. But something like this exists or I have was can I talk in Hindi also? Like, can I use English? ओके तो वो मुझे बेसिकली बिकॉज 12th तक तो आई वाज लाइक एकदम स्कॉलर नैना 98% गॉट इनटू एलएसआर देन कॉलेज में हाईलाइट हो जाता बट लॉकडाउन लग गया तो आई वाज एट होम तो नहीं हुआ सो इट वाज ड्यूरिंग माय मास्टर्स वेयर आई एक्चुअली वेंट टू कॉलेज एमिटी एंड देयर इन इट द सिम्टम्स स्टार्टेड टू शो अप व्हेन आई वाज मैं अपना फ़ोन कैंटीन में भूल के आ रही हूँ रेगुलरली, मैं डेट्स मिस आउट कर रही हूँ एंड मेरा रूम मैं बिल्कुल मैनेज नहीं कर पा रही हूँ। मैं बहुत ज़्यादा मेसी हो रही हूँ एंड माय फ्रेंड्स कंटिन्यूअसली आर टेलिंग मी कि ये स्वस्ति तू बहुत कन्वर्सेशंस में रोकती है या फिर तू कितना ज़ोन आउट हो जाती है, व्हाट इज़ इट? And because all of them were also studying psychology, they started to mock me on ADHD. You're such ADHD. And I also started to mock myself कि हाँ यार ADHD है. But it was all mockery, mockery, mockery until I joined my job, the first job that I had. अब वहाँ पे पंच का सिस्टम होता है, पंच इन एंड पंच आउट। अब मेरे सारे ही रेगुलराइजेशन सब रेड हो रहा है बिकॉज़ एवरी डे आई एम फॉरगेटिंग। मैं रिमाइंडर्स लगा रही हूँ, आई एम स्टिल फॉरगेटिंग। दैट स्टार्टेड टू हाइलाइट। देन मुझे जब ऑर्डर्स मिल रहे हैं तो बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है फॉर मी टू अटेंड मीटिंग्स, आई एम ज़ोनिंग आउट। देन आई एम ऑल्सो मैनेजिंग जेन ज़ी तो फिर नाउ आई हैव दिस रिजेक्शन थिंग ओके कि मैं जेन ज़ी को टाइम नहीं दे पा रही हूँ। एंड देन केम माय पॉइंट ऑफ बर्नआउट where Gen Z also collapsed and Masters Union also collapsed, and I hit the depression. And therein, I was like, dude, now something is not wrong, and I should be diagnosed, or now things are going out of hand. So 3 months depressive episodes के बाद I finally, and it was my decision. My parents still don't think वो ADHD है FYI, even though my mom was there with me, but they still not accept. But 21 से 23 मतलब college to job symptoms got highlighted adult ADHD, but diagnosis happened this year. So I was 24 when I got diagnosed.
All right. Swasti, thank you for sharing. Shannon, when did you get diagnosed?
Yeah, so I think the signs are always there, but I didn't know what it was. And even during my bachelor's, we learned it, but it's not going to be me. Like you read a disorder and like, me. That happens for every single disorder. So you're just like, okay, whatever it is. And the thing is, my bachelor's college was amazing, right? St. Xavier's in Mumbai, damn good. Very open, not, it's like an ADHD's paradise, at least back before NEP. Now I don't really know. But it was like open, do whatever you want. The essays, assignments, internals, and all are not like a rigid thing. You can go creative. You can submit a comic and get like full marks. So it was beautiful. It was very creative. So at that point, I didn't suspect anything was wrong because I was thriving in this environment. But then I went to my master's college and I realized that, oh my God, this sucks. And for a while, I blamed the college that, oh, they're not good. And I still do, by the way. But they're not good. What is this? They're just making us write endlessly. And then a few people also started noticing that it looks like it could be this thing. And I thought about it myself. And I was like, okay, it's starting to look like this quite a lot, but let me wait for a while. So I waited for a few months and it didn't subside. It just became more noticeable. It's not that it just came out of nowhere, it just became more noticeable suddenly. So I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. Since I was in Bangalore at that time, Nimans was like 15 minutes away from where I live. So I just walked there one Monday morning, went there and told them that, listen, I suspect this. And that's when it began. And I got diagnosed on September 17, 2022. I was 22 years old. So, yeah.
I think Shannon, one thing that you mentioned that it's just that it gets caught later on in life. It is not like it was not there in childhood and then it shows up. So that makes me curious. What was your childhood like? Because the education system that we are a part of, it is very punitive, it's very rigid. बहुत ऐसे टाइमलाइंस को वैल्यू किया जाता है जो भी बच्चे टाइमलाइन से मैच नहीं कर पाते. Just quick check in, Shannon, are you comfortable with Hindi?
Yeah, Mumbai से हूँ मैं.
Okay. Okay, okay. Oh, okay, all right. Um, yeah, so जो बच्चे नहीं keep up कर पाते हैं with the system, they are seen as, lazy children और बदतमीज बच्चे और बच्चे जो हाथ से निकल गए हैं या जिनका कोई future नहीं है. So there's a lot of moral shaming that kids also face, unfortunately growing up when they've had a neurodivergent condition. So I would like to know yours and Swasti's experience in schooling in a rigid academic kind of a structure. So, how was your energy level like? What were classrooms like? For me, honestly, classrooms were nightmarish. Like I just remember staring out of the window or always wearing a watch to class so that I can count down ki din kab khatam hoga. So that was pretty much my childhood summed up till I didn't, get into 11th, 12th, found out the subjects that I actually loved. So, coming back to the both of you, just what was your experience with your schooling?
It was something else. Honestly, I don't even remember it all that well. It's just like blocked out. But I remember you should just like stare at the window. Yes. Sometimes I would keep a book down and I would just read something. Sometimes, honestly, the textbook only was so fun. I was just like reading that, and like the teacher can't even say anything because it's like, okay, book you right? Okay. One very interesting thing that me and my friends used to do is we used to sit on the last bench, right? So we used to solve the Rubik's Cube to see who could solve it the fastest. And the thing is, we would not look down. So everyone just looking straight ahead, and like everyone's trying to like put a timer, and someone had a stopwatch on their watch, and we would try to solve that. So we have done random stuff to just get by. And even back then, I think like giving stuff on time, submitting stuff on time, paying attention, being able to focus was not that good, was not that well. But ho gaya abhi, ho gaya. It's gone. Somehow it's gone. The energy levels were damn high. I remember vacations. I would go to play at like 6, 7 in the morning, come back at like 12-ish 1. Then again, we would go at 6 and come like sham ko 6 baje and then come back at like 9:30. So we would be out playing for like 6, 7 hours every single day, despite the heat and everything, April, May. So, and it was also like my mom was okay with it. She could like get her work done if this kid is not there at home. Because if I was at home, then she had to find ways to entertain me, either give me a book or something or the other. So if I was out, at least she's happy. She can get her work done.
Shannon, I have a question. How were you like a reader? Because I have found it very difficult to read books, to be
This
honest.
was before phones.
Acha.
और कुछ था नहीं. There was
Okay.
nothing else. So it's like, yeah, I know, but there was no, the alternative was worse. Do nothing. Right. At least now you can just like go to your phone or something. So got into the habit of reading. I got in the habit of reading because of comics. So I used to read comics. I used to read books, read religious texts and stuff because the alternative was just doing nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How would that sit with you, doing nothing? Do you think you were capable of doing nothing, especially in childhood? Okay.
No, someone would get the bad side of it if I was forced to do nothing. Even now, if I have to
And
do
what?
nothing, they're either gonna get a earful. I remember once I was so bored that I just took the thermocol sheet and just tried doing something with it, trying to make something out of it because just sitting in one place is just torture. Even now, I will never sit in one place doing nothing.
Hmm. What do you mean the bad side of it?
Bad side. Oh, well, let's first also get into Swasti's childhood. Let's not get her get caught with this.
Yeah, she won't. We don't worry.
I was just thinking कि मैम आपका ये वाला पर्टिकुलर एपिसोड बहुत लंबा खींच सकता है because all of us would be just in that zone of thoughts. But yeah, please Shannon complete the question that ma'am asked.
Ah, so I didn't even know that there was such a thing as rejection sensitivity and all of that until like maybe 2 years back, even after getting diagnosed. So back then, very quick to anger, insulted quickly, affected friendships, affected family. It was hard, but then since they found a way to keep me busy by just like letting me play with my uh, the the engineering set thingy that used to come or play with my sciencey toys or whatever. So got they found a way to deal with it. But yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So for anyone who's watching who's not aware of rejection sensitivity dysphoria, can you just quickly summarize what that is in simple language?
yeah. Very simply, it's where even something small, right? Something I remember this is one incident where a friend of mine told me that very jokingly like I hate you, and I took that very literally and I was very hurt. So it's difficult to even take something very small as so it becomes like an all or nothing. Like, oh my god, this is the worst possible thing that could happen. So it's also a very strong bodily feeling where you feel like ऐसा कैसा बोल दिया? Am
Hmm.
I that bad? Am I ऐसा कैसा? How could you say this? I trusted you. I thought you were someone. And
Hmm.
the thing is, the way it goes up also quickly, it comes down also quickly. So it
Hmm.
goes from how could you do this? I never want to see your face ever again to chal yaar tu bhai hai. But that though it's two extremes for like that entire period. So that is the best way I can explain it without getting too jargony.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so
And I
much.
think a lot of self-rejection also come in. So if I think I'm little overweight, I would mock myself before somebody else would say. So I would make a very self-rejection jokes and I would just before anyone could mock me or reject me, I would be the person rejecting myself is something that I feel that I do a lot.
Hmm. Right. So, Steve, coming to your childhood, because
Right.
it's okay.
Yes.
So it's like see the symptoms have been around all our lives, right? It's not like they crop up in adulthood. It's like from day
Mm,
one, it'll be there
mm,
till like the end of time, right?
exactly.
So being having like zero awareness about what ADHD is, right? Never having heard of
Mm.
it. In fact, like I feel, when I there's this show called Modern Family, and
Yeah,
on
I've
that
watched it.
show, yeah, so they take Luke, the character, youngest character, for
Mm.
diagnosis that they think that they have ADHD, and they have hinted on ADHD, Luke and his father both being on that spectrum. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, schools are, stopping, pausing, pointing, and, saying that, hey, involve a professional. That is like a
Mm.
very far-fetched thing for, I think still it's still
Right.
something we're still getting used to and integrating within our systems. Tier one cities, some top-notch schools, definitely they are trying, but I think the second, like the schools that are not very, I
Right.
think, very fancy, for a lack of better words, are not able to provide that infrastructure. And tier two, tier three, तो हम भूल ही जा सकते हैं इस conversation में. I don't think India is there
Yeah.
yet in this matter. So, how was your childhood without knowing that there is any such thing as ADHD? And
Mm.
especially now that you say that, your parents don't really agree or,
Yeah.
validate that it is there. So now as an adult, you can find friends who see it and validate it, right? But as a child, sometimes the things you struggle with, it is not when your parents can't really see it as a struggle or a challenge, that also comes in with its own set of feelings and thoughts. So how was your
Yeah.
childhood?
So basically, I never had grandparents, and my both of my parents were working, and I have an elder brother. So what happened is most of my childhood, I remember that I was alone and with maids because both of my parents went and my brother went out for higher studies. But I still got the safest space, and my family was my safest space. One
Hmm.
thing was a lot of my energy was channelized in dancing. Like I was 2 or 3 year old, and since then I'm dancing. I love to स्टेज की पहले मैं ही खड़ी होंगी एंड कथक मैंने बहुत अर्ली स्टेजेस पे जॉइन कर लिया था सो दैट वाज वन सेकेंडली आई यूज टू गेट दिस रिमार्क शी इज वेरी नॉटी वेरी टॉकेटिव पूरी क्लास को बातों में लगा देती है एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट बट आई वॉज ऑल्सो अ बिग टाइम पीपल प्लीजर और मेरी टीचर से बहुत डरती थी मैं तो कभी पढ़ाई में दिक्कत नहीं आई या फिर रूल्स फॉलो करने में ऐसा दिक्कत नहीं आई until maths and science came. So my maths and science was so pathetic that everything was A plus, A plus, A plus, and maths and science was D, 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 D. But because my family was very chill about it, तो कभी दिक्कत नहीं आई. One thing that I've struggled all my life was with friendships. Every new class means new friends. Out of sight, out of mind. मेरा नया section और मैं पुराने वाले दोस्तों को एकदम ही भाव नहीं दे रही हूँ. And then I wanted to be this popular figure. And when social media came, I I was like a different side of mine came altogether. I started to seek attention from wearing like one particular type of clothes. I wanted Instagram friendships. जो real friends थे उनको skip out कर दिया. Family से काफी distant हो गई. I'm talking to a lot of people together. So this social butterfly came. But all of this was managed in 11th, 12th when humanities came, psychology came. Then what happened was कि suddenly one day my mom, this is a funny story, but my mom found out my phone and I was talking to these random dudes and सबसे मैं बहुत attention के लिए बात कर रही हूँ and then she was like, no Instagram, no phone for you. It was very, very difficult without phone मैंने जो 11th, 12th निकाला है but ह्यूमैनिटीज एंड 12th वाज माय हाइपर फोकस तो एडीएचडी का जो एक पार्ट था वो मैंने फिर पढ़ाई में डाला एंड देन दैट इज व्हेन आई स्कोर्ड मार्क्स बट लोनलीनेस वाज वन बिग फैक्टर क्योंकि घर आके भी मैं लोनली होती थी फ्रेंड्स मेरे थे नहीं सो लोनलीनेस वाज वन थिंग बट कभी एज सच डिसिप्लिन या उस चीज में कभी कुछ हाईलाइट नहीं हुआ बिकॉज दैट वे आई वांटेड टू ऑलवेज स्टे इन गुड बुक्स ऑफ
Hmm.
एवरीवन चाहे वो पेरेंट्स
Hmm.
हो टीचर्स हो आई वाज अ गुड गुड स्टूडेंट
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, I think what you've described is more, it's like when teenage starts, but then if like this, I'm asking about when you were like in second standard, third standard, fourth standard, like, Tab, what do you recollect? Do you remember zoning out in classes? Do you remember getting lost in your own world?
बिल्कुल भी नहीं, मतलब मुझे बस ये लगता था कि मुझे सब कुछ करने का मन करता था, मेरे को बहुत सारे एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर्स में पार्ट करते थे एंड मेरी ऑनेस्टली सीबीएसई का जो मेरा स्कूल था ना ऑनेस्टली वो इतना स्ट्रिक्ट नहीं था। हमारे में
Hmm.
बिना पढ़ो मार्क्स आ जाते थे, मतलब इट वाज़ दैट वे, ए प्लस मिल रहा है सबको, ए मिल रहा है किसी क्लास एक्टिविटी पे, तो उस वे में मेरा चाइल्डहुड वाज़ गुड। तो मुझे उतना कोई स्टार्किंग, ज़ोनिंग आउट या वो सब नहीं याद, बल्कि मेरी मॉम जब असेसमेंट दे रही थी, शी हाइलाइटेड आई वाज़ वेरी हाइपर विजिलेंट और हाइपर लाइक शी हाइलाइटेड अ फ्यू थिंग्स जो मुझे नहीं याद थी।
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is such a contrast. What you're describing, it's a big contrast from my experiences because I think I am the student who's failed because of inattention, And in maths and science, not science particularly. I used to love biology, but not so much when physics, chemistry came in. But
Science was
definitely,
good till math got involved. This is a common trend. Science was good till math got involved.
एंड
yeah,
मेरा
yeah,
पता है क्या रहता था
absolutely.
दैट फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री में भी थ्योरी कर ली, न्यूमेरिकल्स छोड़ दिए, तो दैट वाज़ व्हाट माय साइंस वाज़ लाइक बायोलॉजी कर ली बट फिजिक्स, न्यूमेरिकल, मैथ्स जहाँ पे भी नंबर्स है ना दैट इज़ आई स्किप।
Hmm. Right. Absolutely. So, like when I think of my childhood experience, I like remember like teachers thinking that, I am like someone who's constantly zoned out in my own world, who does not put in efforts into my education. I mean, the teachers from my third, fourth standard, if they were to meet me now, they'll be like, we predicted she won't amount to anything. Like, how is she doing something, right? Until 10th also, I don't think I was a good student at all. Like, literally failing due to inattention. It's like the moment the books came in front of me, I was not interested. I remember reading SST books shock me. I remember reading history books shock में, right? मतलब मैं बोर हो रही हूँ, free period है, history book पढ़ रही हूँ, right? But in maths class, I'm sitting there and trying to look at the board. But मेरा brain interpret ही नहीं कर रहा है लिखा क्या है. मतलब it's literally like दिख रहा है क्या लिख रहा है, but interpretation का काम हो ही नहीं रहा है brain के part में, you know. So this is definitely a contrasting thing that I can see with Swasti. Okay. So all right. Gnosis, have you seen any difference in the way you navigate your friendships? Like, have the awareness of, okay, this is a strength, these are my weaknesses, and now this is something I can do differently. So, is there any change that has come into your, you
Yes.
know,
So
application?
a lot of times people have pointed out me zoning out, interrupting और जैसे फोन चलाना in between. तो therein I happen कि मेरी कोई friend मुझे कुछ बताती है तो I keep the phone separate. I'm like
Yeah.
yeah I'm trying to listen. या अगर मैं
Hmm.
zone out हो रही हूँ तो I rather than pretending कि मैंने नहीं सुना I'd say कि please can you repeat. तो I have
Hmm.
tried to make that as a change, and now I try to do a lot of check-ins with my older friends कि I was
Hmm.
missing you, how are you doing, मैं खुद से call कर लेती हूँ. So I have tried to manage these things.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. I think that, with ADHD, it's not like you kind of forget people per se. It's like they still exist with the same importance in your brain,
Hmm.
right? You're thinking about them. You are, sometimes you're in the middle of sending them a text, something else happens and you forget to text.
Exactly. A lot of times तो
So,
वो send ही नहीं होता है
yeah,
text.
yeah. So I think, but I think for a neurotypical person, that obvious consistency, right? Like हर हफ्ते check in करना, हर हफ्ते बात करना, that is quite
अब
important for them.
होता भी क्या है जब हम उस न्यूअर फ्रेंडशिप वाले जोन में होते हैं ना आई देन स्पैम मैं अपनी न्यूअर फ्रेंड्स के लिए रील्स बना रही हूँ पता नहीं क्या क्या कर रही हूँ चाहे मेरी उतनी इंटेंसिटी भी नहीं है बट बिकॉज स्टार्टिंग में आई पुट सो मच ऑफ लव ना देन ऑब्वियसली इट विल डिफ्लेट और वो कम हो जाएगा देन दे लाइक तू पहले जैसी नहीं रही क्योंकि मैं पहले सर पे चढ़ा देती हूँ
It can be misinterpreted as a lot of other things as well by a lot of people. So definitely I do understand what you're saying. Shannon, you're awfully quiet in this topic.
In terms of relationship, well, there's been my fair share of ups and downs. Like with interrupting, with not being able to come on time, they feel like we are disrespecting them, and it's not like it's like that you are not trying hard enough, that you're intentionally doing this, and can't even blame them. But it gets hard. Yeah. So being in a relationship as someone who has ADHD is not easy for the person with ADHD and for the other person,
Yeah.
because people can be empathetic as long as it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, very true.
Because the second it starts affecting them, they don't care. It's a you
Hmm.
problem that you have to learn to handle, you have to change. And I, to some extent, do agree with that it's not someone else's responsibility.
Yeah.
But telling someone, like for example, usually give example of physical disabilities to men, like visualize invisible disabilities, but you wouldn't tell this to someone who's unable to walk on a wheelchair that just try harder, you'll be able to get up the stairs. We don't say that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
because someone has an invisible difficulty, we assume they can climb the stairs just because we can, because
Yeah.
we can't see their wheelchair, their invisible wheelchair, we can't see it. So
Hmm.
that is what happens even with relationships. And had that, I have messed up horribly many times. But finally, I have reached a point now after years of working and self reflection to a place where my partner is fully aware of it and knows where to be empathetic and knows where to be assertive with some things.
What was
That
that
is
journey like, Shannon?
how much time you have.
I have time. We are here. We are here for it. Please tell
With
us.
which particular journey?
This journey of, is she a neurotypical person? I'm
No,
assuming.
no.
She's not. She's neurodivergent as well.
Oh, she's no. Yes, sorry. She's neurotypical. Yes, I'm sorry.
She's
I,
neurodivergent. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So the journey of, like I absolutely feel you, right? Like I understand this part so much, so deeply. I don't want to get into too much details because today is about the two of you. Um, so the journey of, consistently being with one person, because what I'm understanding, you've been with this person for a relatively longer period of time. The journey of how was she initially in the beginning of the relationship when she started noticing these symptoms, and then like how did you facilitate the journey of making her understand that, hey, it's this, and this is how you empathize with an invisible struggle, etc. Like till now, where she's understood it and kind of made changes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Initially, it was very, very rough for both of us, and it was a blend of trying, because at that point I was diagnosed, so it was a blend of trying to be empathetic, but also this is affecting us. What do we do? So it was a, like, the ping pong table between that, again and again and again repeatedly. But after a while, we learned how to deal with that, how to deal with, let's say, my rejection sensitivity, with my inattention, with me not liking being on, like, calls for long period. So we had to find ways to make it suitable while also being something that is okay with both of us, not just with one person. So it's a very tricky space, because I can't, like, give a generalization, because it's only, like, within the context and within the specific instance where that happens, where you are telling your partner about this. And this also is very much on the person you're with, because most people are like, okay, we get it, we agree, but they don't sometimes, because this person who I am with is from this field. She is a counseling psychologist. She does get it. Sometimes she also has trouble, because the experience that is taught in the books and stuff is very stereotypical, very narrowed down. But the breadth of experience is something she also has had to learn over a while along with me, because I had to also learn that this is not normal. This is not what normal people do. So it only is with that. I don't want to, like, boil it down to, like, communication only, because that's one very small part of it.
Mm.
It's a genuine willingness from both ends to want to, a, make it work, b, to actually want to be there for the other person, not with perceived flaws, but for who they are. And that is very difficult, very difficult,
And I think
because you can
what
always, you can always just back out, like, very young, like in our early 20s. You can always just back out and find someone who's less of a hassle.
Yeah. Shannon, before we go to Swasti, just if I were to ask you two or three things that the two of you started doing differently to accommodate your neurodivergence, okay, it might help someone who's watching in their relationship. So just three things.
The very first thing was not taking things personally if I am zoning out, because it's not a comment on you not being interesting. It's my brain that's doing that. It's not that you are boring. To me, there could be a elephant doing backflips and I would still zone out after, like, a few minutes. So it's not you, and that has taken a while. Second, with the RS thing, I've had to work on it as to not finding things as offensive, as not being hurtful, and that is involves a lot of self monitoring. Is this something that they really meant in a bad way, or are they trying to just help? Are they trying to reach out? Is this really a thing? So it's like that constant catching yourself, that self monitoring, which only comes with practice. And the only problem with that is that it's difficult to uh, you know have someone who's willing to go through that trial and error with you, because
I
they
can imagine if this is, the other person is someone who's coming in, and all of us are coming with our own set of baggages, right? Like not
yeah,
everyone is dealt with the best cards. Like people have their own
exactly.
lived experiences that they're trying to deal with. It's very difficult to not take our shortcomings personally. So I think she must have also done a lot of work. Did she seek therapy for herself? Did she
No,
um no, that was not the thing. What was the route she took to be more um
I think we should have
accommodating?
also invited her.
Yeah, we should have invited definitely.
it was honestly, we always dealt with it just by talking to each other, right? Because both of us are psychologists, both of us can relate, can talk like adults, which is the very first thing. Even if we are very upset, we end up giving each other some time to just cool down, to relax, and then come back and talk about it. So um, it's not like she had to go somewhere to get this help, but she had that calmness within her to be able to navigate this, and that has been very helpful in being able to calm me down, bring me back. so that even when I'm going through the trial and error, I am not feeling very guilty, and that speeded the process up very quickly, because then it significantly reduced the RS. It significantly reduced any feelings of insecurity that even were there. So
Mm.
it's about having a supportive partner, and the beauty of it, that when you have someone like that, it makes you also become that. They become like a model for you.
Shannon, are you guys in the same city? Like,
No.
Oh,
She's
wow.
how do you manage that? The long
long
distance.
distance is a different story. But mainly we try to call, we try to watch shows together. We were watching Vampire Diaries recently, and she was telling me why Damon is better and all of that. And
Yeah,
then
Damon is better any day.
sure, Damon is only better when he takes off his t-shirt, apparently.
Okay, I think we're going to digress from the topic here onwards. So let me just center all
So
three of
it was
us. Okay.
PG-13, my bad.
It's okay, Shannon. So
But yeah,
in
sorry, coming back to that, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that is what we have been doing. Like, we watch shows, we get on calls, we talk, we send each other reels, we do activities sometimes, and I do go to Bangalore sometimes. She came here for the Coldplay concert. So we make it work.
you know, I have had the experience of being in a long distance relationship, and honestly, there were days where I was too burnt out from the demands of my day-to-day life because I was working at a hospital and it was a very consuming, like my day would start at like 7:30 a.m., end at like 8 p.m. So it was like a whole 12-hour thing. And I just didn't have was too burnt out to even get on a call. And there would be like weeks before we could have a real conversation because I was too exhausted. I just could not hold my focus on the call. Has that ever been something that has happened with you?
Yeah, it happens. Especially since I started taking therapy sessions since Jain. So, like, I was the therapist since I started taking clients. So that is emotionally draining. I don't know how people manage that. I take like 2 clients a day and I'm dead. So after that,
Yeah.
talking to them is difficult. But the thing is that we have this kind of a streak, right? Where har din ek baar to baat karna hai. You just call,
Hmm.
say hello and go. That's fine. But karna hai. Can't break it. We'll talk
Hmm.
properly some other day, but karna hai. And that is what keeps us going. That
Hmm.
we're not going to let this break. It's a little silly little tradition, but it's just,
Commitment, I think.
yeah.
No,
But
it's wonderful to hear the level of commitment you have for each other. Honestly, it takes a lot of work to maintain a relationship like that. It's not just, I mean, of course, to find a partner. See, I do think that temperamentally there is certain compatibility factors. Like you said, she's a calm person. So obviously, I think that kind of helps in the situation. But that it won't matter if the two of you are not like really committed to making it work. When two people are on the same page and equally invested in a relationship, I think things can work out. So thank you, Shannon, to share these two, three things. In summary, like if someone is in a relationship and eh, Shannon has suggested that consistently it's not boiling down to communication, but yes, communication matters. It is also, I think, even if you're neurodivergent, you have to learn to keep patience with your neurotypical partner. They are different from you, but hold on to the love and commitment, I would say. And consistency might not look like, oh, at 8 a.m. in the morning, I'm waking up and they're my first call. Consistency can look like random calls in the when you're taking a break between 10 tasks, and sometimes you don't have time to speak, and if you're expected to do a call at 8 a.m. every day for half an hour, that's not going to work out. It's going to look like random calls somewhere in the day, and the duration can vary, so I think that consistency might be easier for an ADHD than like a very specific rigid timetable and scheduling kind of a thing. Okay. Swasti, you were saying something, beach ma'am. So sorry, I could not
Uh-huh.
let you speak.
So what I
Uh,
was saying was,
Shannon, how about you? Have you been to therapy? I'm curious.
yeah, have tried. Uh, Also, I am with a psychiatrist as well. My mates are right here, in fact. But do
Yeah.
consistently go to get help.
Hmm.
I tried with a clinical psychologist in the start, and it was good. It was helpful. but I have not been the biggest fan of behavioral therapy for ADHD.
I
It's not,
agree.
it's okay, but
Yeah.
personally I feel, and I have seen from my own practice, that what
Can you tell,
works.
if there's an audience from non-psych background, what is behavioral therapy? How is that? What is that modality? What would it look like in a therapist practicing it?
Mm. So when I was in defense, I remember they told me that what we're going to do is we're going to have these strategies employed, right? They're like, take a newspaper and start striking out one particular letter or start counting beads. And they're like, the reason we're doing this is because we want to increase your tolerance for boredom, for understimulation. And they're like, we'll make you do these things consistently and it will be very uncomfortable. But that will help you then, monitor yourself in, let's say, in a classroom setting or wherever you are, so that you can then uh, these are just behavioral strategies. You can then pay attention better. You can have a better control over your that need, that the novelty seeking, right? Because it comes from that understimulation. So if that understimulation is under your control, if you can tolerate it, you'll be able to sit on one task and work rather than keep chasing the new thing. I get the logic of it. I get it. It's just not it. It's just made by someone who wants to torture people.
Hmm. I think, yeah, I feel that therapy should be like, I think in my experience, what has worked for me has not been anything behavioral. It's not been cognitive behavioral therapy at all. See, I think the cognitive part of it has helped to some degree, but I think I've been very open to being challenged to my core. Like, I think to the point of like bring on the intensity, So I think that mode has worked for me, and that has acted as a stimulation and a challenge instead of making me sit down and, cancel letters. And, it's like someone is challenging making a fish walk on a tree, like why? Like, why can't we create spaces that are more accommodating? And I think, when I'm listening to certain very veteran psychologists on LinkedIn, some of them, there is a school of thought that's also saying cancel ADHD. Like, ADHD is not a real condition; it is a result of developmental trauma or insecure attachment in childhood or something like that, and it shouldn't be a part of DSM-6. So there are people who are advocating for that, and it just makes me like, in 2025, are we still having this conversation that brains can be different? And brains can be unique, and sometimes not every brain is designed to um thrive in a world that is very, very capitalistically driven. And I'm really sick of so these mental health professions whom I respect a lot. It's such a contradictory position to be in. I'm a mental health professional, I want knowledge. I really respect people who've come before me and contributed to the field, right? But to see them sitting there saying that, hey, ADHD is nothing, it is just, some sort of a personality pathology, and they need, like an analytical or a dynamic intervention, and it'll be fine. So it's been deeply. I'm so sorry. I feel a lot on this topic, and it makes me so angry. In 2025, how can we still be having this conversation that is ADHD even a real thing? So I forgot what I was asking you. Typical me. I just got
I
carried
have
away
a
with what I was
question
saying.
with Shannon, that even he takes medications, right? So
Yeah.
I have personally been recommended, and I contemplate every day, when these energy or जब मुझे लगता है burnout and for
Mm.
everything, I do contemplate a lot. So I think this can be a major thing that he can help us with. How
Yeah.
medications have helped you, what are the side
Yeah.
effects, and how to go about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I have been on meds since 2022, and they started me with non-stimulants. There's two types, right? Non-stimulants and stimulants. Non-stimulants, basically, they are increasing this thing known as norepinephrine in your brain, which is making you slightly more vigilant, more attentive. So if it's like, when you see a snake, you suddenly become very attentive, and like that's the exact feeling. But you also feel scared and anxious, which is also what happens when you take these meds. When you take non-stimulant, you're going to feel anxiety a lot, because it's like seeing a snake 24/7, because you are very, very attentive, you are very vigilant, but you're also terrified at the same time. वैसे दिल में ऐसा दबदब होने लगता है. That is what it's like taking non-stimulants. It works well, it's pretty good, but it wasn't working for me, because my bigger problem was not attention but motivation. अगर motivation ही नहीं है, if I don't feel like getting out of bed and doing something, and it's like either doing 100 things or doing nothing, and I don't want to live on that extreme. I'd like to be able to finish some things. So my bigger problem was trying to fix that motivation bit, for which we switched to stimulants. Stimulants take the norepinephrine part and dopamine. So what they're doing is they're increasing the amount of dopamine in your brain, which makes it easier for you to then get out of bed, do things, be able to follow a schedule. I started living by a calendar for the first time in my life. It's the first time I open Google Calendar every single day and I have like things scheduled and I'm doing that properly. Why? Because that's what it does. And it's called the dopamine deficit hypothesis, I think, where because there's less dopamine, we tend to chase more stimulation to kind of make up for it. Again, I don't remember the exact thing of it. I don't want to oversimplify, but which is why they recommend these meds. Brief comment on meds is that they're not meant for long term. They are only like a वो cycle पे ऐसा वो side wheel होता है, training wheels. That's all it is. While you are on the bicycle trying to get a hold of your life, because most people who end up coming to a psychiatrist are at a point where everything is just messed
Yeah.
up, everything is gone wrong. So it's like the training wheel, just to get things back on. The meds are not meant to be there for a long time. It's just till you get your shit together kind of thing.
Sounds nice. But I have also started to structure my days with the Google Sheets and stuff. Like I write what to do daily, alternatively, and everything. So I think if it is manageable, then I can refrain from taking it, right?
That's a
It,
conversation to have with your psychiatrist, I would say. Um,
yeah, it's also about to what extent can you manage, and then you bring that
Right.
up to your psychiatrist, and it's yeah, they have to, because if you're able to manage, they will never give you meds, because it's like a cost benefit thing, right? The If your life is not going so well, if it's too dysfunctional, then fine, introducing a foreign agent like a meds is fine. But if you're able to manage, then why put you through this unnecessary stress? Because if you're taking meds, you have to do the liver function test every 6 months. If you're taking
Oh,
stimulants, you have to do liver function test, CBC, ECG you have to get done, because it can increase your blood pressure. So why go through that cost if you're able to manage? So if you talk to a psychiatrist about this, they go through that very detailed risk, like cost benefit analysis of whether we should even consider.
oh. So I have a question for both of you. How seriously were you taken when you presented this hypothesis that you think you have ADHD? And I think for women, it is like, because the symptoms might show up slightly differently because the overt driven by the motor might not be there in a very stereotypical sense. It's more of mental hyperactivity that might be there. It could be, other things that show up. So sometimes it's like a lot of women, even if some symptoms were there throughout childhood, it was not diagnosed, but as an adult, I think in both of your cases, that diagnosis happened as an adult, but still, like women struggle to be taken seriously when they present with ADHD. It's always dismissed as either some generalized anxiety disorder or either, perhaps a personality issue,
BPD,
etc.
BPD, very common.
Yeah, BPD. I was not using BPD per se, but yes, borderline personality disorder. That's what, borderline personality disorder. So I think, how seriously were the two of you taken when you approached your psychiatrist and said, "Hey, I think I I have ADHD"?
Um, in my case, the first encounter with my psychiatrist happened little forcefully because I was very depressive and little suicidal that then. So my parents took me to the psychiatrist they knew. So I couldn't tell him I think I have ADHD. Then and I didn't process it then. So therein, so I don't know what medications I was having, depression, anxiety, सबका apart from ADHD. But whenever the discussion happen in my family about ADHD or even after assessment, my brother has a point of view that you reinforce it every day. You saying it every day or you telling me that everything is ADHD, which I sometimes also overdo sometimes. Not to like, I sometimes
But I
overdo.
also think that sometimes, as an ADHD, it's like if you don't self-advocate so much, people are they don't realize that this is not like a, sometimes Indian culture ka deep part hai, right? I think across all disorders, I think it is like people are used to going to an astrologer, getting one solution ki चींटी को आटा खिला दो या एक मूंगा मोती पहन लो सब ठीक हो जाएगा, right? So we Indians are used to like some solution that will fix everything. So I also think that if we are not consistently self-advocating, कि, hey, it is a very real part of my everyday life. It is. Of course, I'm not saying that sometimes we don't use it as an excuse. It might be possible on a tired day when we are feeling burnt out and exhausted, and we don't want to clean the house,
Actually,
right? We
sometimes
and
ऑफिस में मैंने कभी
yeah,
बोली भी like care.
we are told that focus on problem solving. Don't why are you using ADHD as an excuse, or like just try harder. In summary, this sounds like just try harder, and I think that further pushes the RST. Like it feels like a rejection, it feels like not
Yeah,
being seen, understood. Then you get emotionally overwhelmed, then you do more of what is dysfunctional. So
true.
any neurotypical listening to this, please stop asking the ADHDer to try to do to try harder. Definitely
Hmm.
put systems into place, definitely have critical conversations, but on a day-to-day basis, when you see them struggling with something as basic as just getting up and getting the bed done, like
Hmm.
fixing things around the house, just don't, start shaming indirectly, because this tone of shame can only make things worse. Coming back to my original question, which I think was, the attitude towards like how mental health professionals sat with your hypothesis that you have ADHD. So first one you couldn't tell to, right? Your original psychiatrist you didn't declare.
Yeah. Then the clinical psychologist के साथ assessments went very nice. My mom was called and everything. Then it was very smooth. It was only that psychiatrist वाले में दिक्कत आई थी, but because also I did not say ADHD. So that was the
Hmm.
thing, but I never visited a psychiatrist for my ADHD yet.
Okay, okay. So the process that you went through was you went to the doctor. He said get an assessment done. So you got the
No,
assessment
no,
done.
no. So
Okay.
the whole psychiatrist is different. This was something जो पहले हुआ. When I
Hmm.
got back in the new job, new flat, new beginning, and I was in the rush of the things, new things were happening. I was like, now it's the right time to get my diagnosis. So I myself
Hmm.
consulted a clinical psychologist for that.
Hmm.
So 1 15-minute call happened where she analyzed कि करना भी है या नहीं assessment. Then the assessment happened with my mother. Like 2 sessions हुए मम्मा के साथ, and then the report came after 1 week. That is what happened, and I hope this is the right procedure.
She didn't
Yeah.
speak with you?
No, no, me and my mother.
That's okay. It was the both.
This the way people are treated. I get so many DMs, or I've heard this so many times from friends, from different people, from even some clients, that whenever I went to this psychiatrist or clinical psychologist as well, all they tell them is that, Arey, but you are doing so well. So you got 90% in school. How can you have ADHD? You're doing so well. It makes no sense. So this happens very frequently. But thankfully, when I went to demands, it wasn't so. I went there and I told this person, it's like a very nice small room. And there were like multiple rooms with each has like a table, like two chairs, and like different psychiatrists are there. And that was just like an entire line of the psychiatrists. The other side was clinical psychologists, like within each room. So I was sent to this one room after sitting for a while, and I told them, listen, I don't know what it is. I suspect it ADHD, but I don't know. But whatever it is, it's getting difficult to live. It's getting difficult to work, and I just want to be able to do things properly. So they're like, okay, let's just tell me everything, that why you think it's this, what has happened. And we went through it for like, I think 20-ish, 20, 25 minutes. We spoke about it, and he's like, okay. And he called me back on another date with my parent. So that my parent came then on September, mid September, and then we went through an entire process, like 1 hour of very detailed history from childhood. They were drawing genogram, they were doing case history, and it wasn't even one. It was like the one main psychiatrist. There were two residents. There was a psychiatric social worker. There were like many people, like for just like handling one case. And he took down the thing. He gave me the ASRS to fill, detailed, very detailed. And then we were just kept to sit there for a few, I think 15-20 minutes for quite some time, while he went and he spoke to the senior psychiatrist. And then I had to go and talk to the senior psychiatrist finally. And he spoke to me, and he's tried to, understand and try to make sense of it. And then finally, they're like, okay, it seems like you do have it. And that's when I got my diagnosis and was started on meds. So overall, I think I was very happy with the fact that there were so many people who were taking it seriously. It was,
Hmm.
when you're in such a setting, it does feel a little intimidating, but it's also nice to know that there are so many people who are taking it seriously and trying to make sense of it. And now that I look back, it was better that it was not a one-man job, because seeing so many people gives me that second opinion right there and there. Because if it wasn't the case, then I don't want to have that uncertainty, right? One said this, the other said that. So
Hmm.
that was a good thing to have.
Hmm. Swasti has just mentioned she has to leave the meeting in some time. So I think, can I just ask her the questions quickly? I will come back to you, Shannon, if that's okay. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
like you
So,
can ask and we can discuss, but it's just I'll try to like we'll wrap up thoda sa jaldi. Like
okay. So the episode is gonna go longer because I don't know when I'll catch hold of the two of you again. Okay,
okay,
because it's some,
no
with,
problem. I'll manage
yeah.
for half like 3 tak to I can then stay.
Acha, great, perfect. So, Swasti, here, let's get so the health. So, let us know later. Maybe we can update also later, some 5 years down the line. I love this concept. I think, couple of years down the line, where are they now? Wale videos I really enjoy. So, maybe we can do that later. But once, you do see a psychiatrist, let us know how it goes. And, yeah, so definitely my experience has been that the question has always been, why do you think you have ADHD? It's been quite like, no, you don't have ADHD, focus on and at maximum I've had ki maybe it is subclinical. It is not it's not dysfunctional enough to warrant a diagnosis of ADHD. But then honestly, like the inner suffering of it, or like how it shows up in my day-to-day life and the way it impacts my partner, my family, etc. It's just, it is significant, and I really wish that psychiatrists had more patience when a woman presented to them that, hey, listen, I think I have ADHD. Give it a chance, kam se kam. But yes, my clinical psychologist was wonderful. She did the assessment and everything. So I think that went pretty well. And now I officially have a document that states, hey, listen, she has ADHD. So and it's a little sad that to be taken seriously, you need to have a piece of paper validating, your ill-lived experiences, because, yeah, it has been intense. But coming to you, what are some of the day-to-day struggles in terms of, like, let's discuss career and finances. So impulsivity in spending, poor money management, poor planning for, just planning for the future can be something that's very, very impacted. I think in the past 1 year I've really worked on money management as a skill, but um impulsive spending is definitely a part of my lived experience. How about you?
Um, so I वैसे coming from बनिया sort of family, I'm a very चिंदी mindset person, and ऐसा था कि मैं जहाँ पे भी लगेगा I would save and I'm this discreet कि अगर मेरे को कोई बैंक में नंबर है ना I'll be like मुझे ये नंबर चाहिए मतलब this number should stay. तो ऐसा था but जब now that the depression came thing मैं घर पे रही 3 महीने and when I was like new Swasti 2.0 so I'm going to have all the fun and I'm not going to be chindi. So then I'm like, I'll be going the best of the gyms, buying the best of the clothes, and all of that mindset came. And yes, I lost track of how much I'm spending. I got into that thing that you're at the point that spend, have fun, and उस वाले mindset में
Comfortable banking? Do you find yourself forgetting your net banking password,
या
your
द पासवर्ड थिंग हैपेंड
net
बट
banking?
एप्पल ने अब वो पासवर्ड जैसा कुछ कर दिया है वो मेरे पासवर्ड सेव करता है देयर इज दिस ऐप अब वो कुछ बेटर हो गया है तो दैट इज फाइन बट आई एम ऑल्सो अ पर्सन हु हैज वो हुआ यही कि मैंने एक मंथ में I would have like overspent 50-60,000 on some random thing and majorly on
और you
highly
can't tell
processed
कहाँ गया
food.
वो. Yeah,
And
you
majorly
can't
on
even
high,
recollect.
yeah, on
Yeah.
majorly highly processed food. Rose ka Zepto coffee ka and my junk food. I don't know if it is related to ADHD. You guys tell me, but
It
it,
is.
yeah, I
Food
have
is my biggest weakness.
food is the
Yeah.
biggest weakness and cravings. अगर मुझे right now
Mm.
also between session I ordered waffles. Random pack of 4 waffles की अगर अब taste buds को चाहिए तो चाहिए.
Yeah.
एंड फ्लैटमेट्स टोकते हैं बिकॉज़ पूरे घर पे सिर्फ जो जंक खाती है वो मैं हूँ. सो माय
Mm.
मेजर expense goes in the food. But after when I overspent, then I started to keep a Excel sheet कि अच्छा this is spending, this is earning. Especially because I can have multiple sources of income. So now I'm trying to manage. But impulsive spending होगा. अगर कुछ पसंद आ गया है तो वो मैं लूँगी. या अगर कुछ खाने
Regardless of regardless of बैंक account में कितने पैसे हैं नहीं हैं, next
Yeah.
month के goals पे क्या impact होगा, rent कैसे पे होगा. Do you think that is
And
that intense?
usually, it's food. It's majorly 90% food that happens.
And how about emotional eating? I think you know what, I'll be covering health next. I'll come back to the emotional eating part. Shannon, how
Yeah.
about you? What's your relationship to money? Do you find yourself being impulsive?
Oh man, was very bad with that food, man. Food, especially, it was so bad. And the thing is, I was in Bangalore, right? And the thing is that when you're by yourself and all, you don't really get home food, and so you get an excuse to go out and eat, or you crave stuff. And it was bad. It was very, very bad. I would just come back extremely broke, and I'm like, damn, how do I manage the next, the rest of the month? So I had to come up with this system where I would take like all my cash and I would give it to my partner, and I would keep like a very small amount, like very, very little amount with me, so that not overspending, so that I don't have it. And if I need more, I have to take her permission. So now I
Yeah.
have replaced a system where I just put it in a liquid fund or somewhere else, so that the liquid fund, it does not come immediately. It comes like a day later. So
Yeah.
then I don't have to overspend. So
Give in
that
to the impulse. Yeah.
yeah, so impulse has been a very big problem, especially with food, especially. And the craving
Same.
thing, I was craving a Coke today and I got it. And it sometimes it's random things. I remember 2 weeks back, I just randomly got up, went for a walk, and suddenly I find myself in a Nike store, and I just bought a t-shirt and I came back. Nothing was planned, just happened.
Something about cold drinks, dude. The cold drinks
Yeah,
and the caffeine is another
Coca-Cola.
level
Yeah.
discussion to have.
For me,
yeah.
I think
That
I
also,
agree. Like,
it's a spectrum.
yeah, yeah. So the finances, yes, it has been an area of struggle. I think for all of us, it's been, people say that Shrishti, you are such a miser otherwise. But when it comes to food, what happens? There have been times in my life where it's like the bank is charging me for, like you're supposed to maintain a certain X amount in your bank account. And if you don't have that amount, then you'll be charged a fine. I have paid that fine for years. Okay. I forget my net banking ID and like password every other day. I'm resetting it. So I think that definitely like a lot of things I consciously finances is one thing I've had to like really work on myself for. And
And
I
I
think
think अगर मेरे पास कैश का स्कोप होता तो कैश तो मेरा गायब मतलब वो तो खोता ही खोता
basically,
पैसे
yeah,
तो कैश तो आई कांट मैनेज ओनली इट्स ओनली
yeah,
Cash is
जीपे that
usually
made me
better to
survive.
keep like bigger notes. Right?
yeah,
अगर 200-500 है वो जल्दी जाता नहीं है unless you like doing big, like for drinks and stuff, like smaller purchases. UPI, man, UPI is the curse. जो कटता है ना, it's like Google is paying that meme. It's UPI is the
yeah.
problem. If you're paying by
I
card, you feel like a little guilt. Like अरे यार कार्ड से UPI like अपना पैसा थोड़ी है, किसी और का
ऐसे
है.
कट 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 लाइक हमारा जीपे है ही नहीं.
hmm. I think definitely. So how if anyone's watching and they want to know how to improve their finances, you can check out this YouTube channel called The Financial Diet. It's been a great resource in fixing my finances, honestly. Second thing is you can't be like sometimes I wanted to buy health insurance, but I could not sit to go on Policy Bazaar and read the policies and the big dockets of ye rules. I found a CA and I said, "Bhai, ये मेरा situation है, बताओ best क्या है." So find an expert and be okay in availing their services. Look out for yourselves.
And I feel as an
Yeah.
ADHD person, the best that you can do is outsource. You don't have
Yeah.
to be this
Yeah.
person doing
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Please,
Outsource.
when I even have Gen Z, I got a video editor, I got a graphic designer. I can't wear multiple hats, and it's okay. Please outsource, get CA, get help, get a maid, get anything, get cook. Now I have made my life easier only by outsourcing.
You
And
will
that
lose less money like this oddly.
I
एग्जैक्टली व्हेन आई वाज
when
लाइक मैं
I
खुद से कुक करूंगी. ठीक है, एंड उस कुकिंग में जो मैंने किचन का खाने का वेस्टेज किया है ना, ओनली आई नो हाउ मच ऑफ
yeah,
मनी आई वेस्टेड.
I
एंड
agree.
ओवर ऑर्डरिंग 2 to 3 kgs के पैकेट्स मंगवा रही हूँ. एनीवे.
Like I think I've had that thing where I overorder or I want a bigger quantity, even though if I don't have the appetite for it, वो होना चाहिए fridge में. And sometimes I food has literally rotted in the fridge, like fungus लग गया and I had to throw it and my family members are like, Christy, what's wrong
Do
with
you
you?
also have these
Yeah.
fruits sudowing on your
Yeah.
bags?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I love, I think in fruits I don't like apple, but I think apples last a little longer. But I love bananas. Okay, so they always rot. Like I've made it a point only to get like 4 or 5. That's it, not like a whole dozen because I can't keep them fresh. It's a
Same.
big, yeah. So okay, and with regards to um so this is the financial part of it, I think. And what you guys, if I were to ask you if there is an ADHD who is not coming from a affluent family background or who is not having a good job, right now where they are paid very well, and it's a very vicious cycle. I think when I think of 2019 when I was in my first job right out of college, um, living by myself, and it was like living in a dustbin. I'm not gonna lie, like my apartment was a dustbin where I would show up and I would like sleep on the pile of clothes, literally, right? And
There was
my
this
friends,
Friends का एपिसोड ना जिसमें रॉस की गर्लफ्रेंड होती है जिसमें पूरा घर
I was that. I was that person, I was that person. And like I would have this one random drive time where I would like सब साफ कर देना है, सब ठीक हो गया अब मुझे कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है, अब सब ठीक रहेगा. But it's an everyday effort, right? That's something that just doesn't sit with my brain. That is an everyday effort. It's not like one magical turn, and somehow my brain does not cooperate there. So that time, what it used to be like, I'm waking up, I'm going to office, coming back exhausted. Office had was full of RST, like full of different hierarchies, different management systems, different people, people scrutinizing certain things. It was like whatever. When you're working in an office system, a very typical office Indian office system, there's gossiping, there is backwitching, there is politics, there is people trying to bring you down, people questioning your work, all of that. My immediate boss was amazing, but in the rest of the organization, um, like there was especially a set of team and the manager in that team who absolutely I think hated my guts, and like there was so much politics. So I would come back exhausted and burnt out by the end of the 9 to 6 day, right? 6 days working and 9 to 6 was my hours. So those are ridiculous work hours. I can't see myself going back to that ever again. Um, and I would come back tired, no motivation to cook, nothing to do. And I would be like, छोड़ो ना खाना क्यों खाना है? So have you both ever noticed this within yourself? You're like sometimes कि खाने की क्या जरूरत है? Like let's fast. So I have this thing where I am switching between polar opposites. Sometimes I'm fasting, and when I'm breaking that fast, I'm ordering a lot of food, and see they were high dense carbs, or it is like sugarated, it is something like unhealthy always. I remember eating a lot of soya chap in that phase. So 6 days a week, 5 days a week, I'm eating soya chap. I'm going to a dhaba eating paneer naan, and like I remember by the end of that job I ended up with some health issues that were never there, you know, or that were mildly there, but really bad. And I had to go back home and quit that job also. I'm glad I did. But it's a vicious cycle. You see the routine, it is,
with me
just
it's
going.
never starving but rather always overeating. I would never starve
Mhm.
myself because I cannot because I'll then get very irritated, very cranky. So I
Mhm.
eat, but when I'm eating I don't know when to stop. So
Mhm.
that happens.
I think eating disorders are highly comorbid. I don't think I'm not diagnosed with an eating disorder, but eating disorders are highly comorbid with ADHD. I feel that I think I can perhaps look up certain studies and pin it in the description box. But disordered eating patterns are definitely a part of the dysfunction. So it's a vicious cycle, really. I don't know what was my point, and it's so good to be able to say this out loud. Why I brought in this topic with two neurodivergent people. And sometimes when you're in between neurotypicals and you get so passionate and you talk so much, and then you're going from topic to topic, and they're like, what is happening here,
That's why I feel more than behavioral therapy or one-to-one therapy, these ADHD support groups have
Yeah.
empowered me a lot. Just meeting
So you can
ADHD
send me
person
some.
just hmm,
Yeah, you can send me some and let me pin it in the comment section so that people know where
sure.
to avail
There
those
is
support
also
groups.
I forgot her name. I'll tell you, I forgot the
Yeah,
name, but she
it's
has
okay.
support group. She's very cool ADHD. She also has ADHD. She also shot a video on ADHD. I've also tagged her.
Is it Richa Vashisht by any chance?
No, I'll
Okay.
find.
Oh, Richa Vashisht is a really um queer affirmative, neurodivergent therapist. You can go check her out on Instagram. Shout out to Richa. Yeah, coming back to our
Are
discussion
you
on
talking
health.
about that ADHD therapist?
Yes, thanks.
Nishta,
It's
I think.
Okay,
Nishtha.
Ah,
Nishtha. She has support groups.
okay, wonderful. So I'll tag her page and add her as a resource here. And speaking of resources, there are also two more videos on this channel. One is by me. It is what to do if you think you have ADHD. It's a guide on what are the steps you can take. Second one is a long conversation I had with Dr. Itisha Nagar. She's also you can check her out. Also, shout out to Dr. Itisha Nagar. She has been speaking on neurodivergence and ADHD, autism, learning disability, and everything since many years now. So that both these videos will be linked at the end of this particular video, so you can access them, watch them, and please share this video with any ADHDer or any
You did
friend who
this
needs it.
professionally. काफी अच्छा आपने बोला. Please subscribe to my channel, like my channel,
Hit the bell icon because sometimes like
hit the
ignoring
bell
subscribe
icon.
is the point. Right. Yeah. So I forget to mention this. Previous few podcasts. Sab acha gaya. I've forgotten people to subscribe and hit the bell icon. So this time I'm like, you know what? Somewhere in the middle of the video, I'll mention it. ठीक है. So we have discussed finances briefly. So if someone does not have the financial resources, if they are an early career person, um, if they don't have that kind of money where they can outsource, what can be done? What are some of the helpful tips for career management and finance management as per both of you that the person can sort of do?
Shannon, you'll go first.
yeah. See, if you're in Bangalore, I recommend going to Nimans for if you want a diagnosis or want professional help because it's cheap. Do you guys want to guess how much I paid for that? For seeing my psychiatrist? Chalo guess karo.
59 rupees.
10 rupees.
10 rupees, okay.
I don't even
The
want to
consult.
quote how much I paid for my assessment.
So if you're in Bangalore, if it's close to
Private.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
it's affordable. And even if you're not in Bangalore, there will be some hospital, some government facility that do tend to have to check with your particular city or state, or there are counseling clinical psychologists that do take pro bono that are willing to help. Again, the only thing is that everything is too scattered to be able to find them, to find the resources, but it's possible. If you're able to get in touch with a few of these in the support groups, you'll definitely find people who have gone through it.
Yeah.
For career management, uh, let's talk about that like in 5 years again once we figure out it ourselves.
I think I'm
But
looking
yeah,
at career and
but
finance. I mean,
I agree
jumping.
with Swasti of outsource. My
Yeah,
team
and
is like
also
that.
there are a lot of mentors. I mean, Top Mate app is a beautiful app.
Hmm,
Mentor low, guidance low. There are like
yeah,
people, LinkedIn pay. I mean, LinkedIn is the best way to sort
I
things.
really like
And I
LinkedIn.
have Yeah, and I have also मैंने अपने पेज पे शीट डाला हुआ है एक यू गाइस कैन चेक तो इट्स लाइक अ डेली सॉर्ट शीट तो उसमें मैंने फाइनेंसेस का भी डाला हुआ है करियर का भी डाला हुआ है कंटेंट प्लानिंग का भी डाला हुआ है सो यू गाइस कैन चेक दैट एक्सेल हैज हेल्प्ड मी अ लॉट नोट्स ऐप एंड एक्सेल सो देयर एंड आई हैव पर्टिकुलरली गिवन दैट
To me, Swasti, so sorry to cut you off. I just can't do Excel. I hate Excel. I mean, of course, where it's linked to my Google Forms and it's auto updating on the sheet, those are well maintained. But anything I start, I just cannot go back and update.
It's just कि notes में सारी dumping है but Excel
Hmm.
if you see it's just very simple if just I have just put a very smart goals वाला logic कि मैंने
Hmm.
time bound दिया हुआ है क्योंकि मैं deadlines पे ही function कर पाती हूँ so
Hmm.
there it can help otherwise Topmate is something that they can check there are affordable people see giving
Hmm.
mentorship and guidance on the career front and yeah then pro bono है support groups है NGOs है that can always be managed but
Hmm.
seeking help on the right like थोड़ा सा पैसे लगेंगे but अगर आप पहले help ले लेते हो तो वो आपको काफी consequences से बचा सकता है is what I've
Hmm.
understood I mean I have resigned my job impulsively that
Yeah.
was like a
Yeah.
whole different career thing that have happened but मैं ADHD से होती तो now I take a breather I go for a walk before taking any action impulsively so getting a diagnosis is way better than the consequences that our impulsivity does.
Yeah. So you see, if someone is at the stage where they can't get diagnosed again from a private practitioner, then Shannon's advice go to the nearest government hospital. But sometimes, in Shannon, I think you've had an exceptional experience. But I think as a woman, if I were to go to government hospital, I really doubt that people are going to listen.
Also, Gen Z does offer diagnosis. We'll make sure if Srishti ma'am.
Okay, if you use code Shrishti100, you will get a discount on the psychometric assessment for ADHD with Gen Z therapist. There's a clinical psychologist on board with Swasti's organization. Please feel free to reach out to her. She's there on Instagram, and or even if you DM me on Instagram, I will connect you to Swasti, and yay, you have a discount. So chalo, a very tangible thing that is coming out of this. So see, this is ADHD, right? I think spontaneous collaborations that are meaningful also. So this is just a demonstration of that, I would say. So Shannon is very, very quiet again. So with career management, for me, I think I've worked in jobs for 4 years, and it has always ended with me resigning. After a certain point of time, it's like I have to survive for one
High
year, and
five.
then I have to leave. I think it's like I've always done a job to leave, to do my own thing. So I think if you are an ADHDer, I know ADHDers who are in jobs who love their jobs also. Okay, so but for me personally, switching to a business like a service provider role has been better. But it might not be the right formula for everyone. To each their own. Please discuss with your therapist what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and how to manage the rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Because working in the Indian workplace, RSD comes up very, very intensely, with the ups and downs. And Shannon, for your career, what are some of the things you've done to manage it even like as efficiently as possible?
I don't know if it's the ADHD or the fact that I was exposed to like Marxism for 3 years, but I don't dream of labor. And this is a thing I have said to myself multiple times that I don't dream of working. I dream of
Mm.
doing things. I dream of having things to do, but I don't dream of working.
Yeah.
And I worked during my masters. I worked before that, and I realized this is not for me. This, if I have to
Same.
do this every single day, someone's gonna die. Gonna not someone's
Yeah.
not gonna get alive out of this, because man, that sucks. So now I run my own thing, and I like it. The only thing is it's risky. It invites you to build a new road, like the road not taken. That's what it's.
Yeah.
But some people may not be comfortable with that. Some like me, who for whom the alternative of a 9 to 5 is just like equally is much worse, would take this path. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying that if you have ADHD, you should go towards entrepreneurship, but I'm seeing this pattern more and more. I'm seeing it happen more frequently. Many ADHDers are inclined towards entrepreneurship because they get to have a say, they get to dictate the environment, and they also get to hire people who, in a way, can complement them. Because
Yeah.
if I suck with like attention related tasks, they can then take over for that, and they
Absolutely.
can do the other side that I can't, and then I can do the things that need to be done. So
Hmm.
career related, it's I would like to get out of working as much as possible so that I can do things that I like and
Hmm.
to keep things fun.
Hmm.
When I
Right.
resigned my pehla wala job na, I was also like, मैं तो Gen Z therapist too. I'm a CEO, entrepreneur. I don't need a job and stuff. But then when I went home na, the only problem is that because it is online, I've realized I can't function online. Matlab, I need to get up, dress up, and then go somewhere. I have this need that I need to meet people. Then I do think co-working and having some offline spaces would always be like on a longer plan. 5 years later, offline Gen Z studio and everything. But right now, what I've understood with PW, when I go PW, and then when I come back, I can work better at Gen Z, if it makes sense. Because I've gathered met new people and stuff. I feel productive. And then, but when I was in Meerut without job, I couldn't even do Gen Z. I was like, मुझे कुछ करना ही नहीं है. Like what Sharon was saying, that I don't want to work. Can't be like a thing. My Bible was like, so you're saying you're retired? I was like, yeah, I'm retired. So this was a joke that we made.
I have thought of retirement almost every day when I was in my job. Swasti, talking to is like realizing it's making me realize that you might have the same struggles, but it manifests so differently. Because for me, I've noticed my peak coming in after quitting jobs. Um, on the surface, to an outsider, maybe not, because some people have said, "Oh, who quits a job at Ames?" I'm like, I quit a job at Ames, because it was tiring to me on a very soul level. It was very exhausting. It drained my creativity, it drained my love for psychology. It was not just that job, the series of
Because
jobs.
Masters Union was also the environment you were in AIMS. There I couldn't
Okay.
survive. There then I had to impulsively resign only. But
Hmm.
now TW does give me the work that I like, give me scope, breaks. So there
Yeah.
ended in manageable. But अगर यहीं वो job वैसे हो जाएगी तो then I will resign only.
Yeah. I think in a creative, flexible environment, we can really thrive, but in a very traditional, rigid setup, it is really
I think
sometimes.
in your case, na, social media came very late. Otherwise, you would have done I feel. Or
With okay, you know what, Swasti, we'll have this conversation later because otherwise we can end up talking on these things for like hours. So, okay, so quickly, I don't even know what theme I was discussing. It was about career and finances. Okay, relationships we've already covered. Um, then just a quick thing on addiction and health, right? ADHD has been associated with smoking a lot, or some sort of an addictive behavior. It could be like, I think food is something we've very obviously discussed. So I'm not asking you to disclose anything personal here. Perhaps, if you've noticed, because neurodivergent people tend to have neurodivergent friends. So have you noticed that theme of being dependent on substances, smoking? You don't have to go into your own details here. Okay. So, it can be sugar, it can be, again, you just ordered waffles. So, do you find yourself always craving for something? I think we've already discussed that there is that part. And on the food habits. So, do you cook? Is that something you're able to do consistently for yourself? Are you able to plan your meals? If not, do you end up ordering? Is it a mindful order where you're, thinking that, oh, if I eat like a grilled food and vegetables, it'll be better? Are you able to plan your meals? Is that something you struggle with? Shannon?
With the addiction thing, I have seen different varieties with friends, be it smoking substances basically, or be it behavioral, with gambling, with different sexual related addictions. It's a wide variety of it, but the theme has very consistently been of getting some kind of a reward or stimulation, of consistently getting that good feeling. And with cooking and all, I once went, I sat in the library from like 9 in the morning till 3:30 without eating anything. Not because I wasn't hungry, because I was so caught up with what I was doing that I was like, ठीक है, बाद में जाके देख लेंगे. We'll see later. Later we'll see what to do. So it's never been consistent. Even though I lived in a PG where they offered food and stuff, it's not been, even then it was not consistent. Also, I did not like the food, so that was a different problem. But yeah.
Like, I think, have you guys been called picky eaters, frustrated by your families that this person is a very picky eater? Like, they won't eat till they don't find
That's
something tasty.
पहले, but अब नहीं हूँ. But बचपन में तो मैं बहुत. So बचपन में I was very skinny. But then when adolescent and वो happened, तो then तो there was me. But anyway, but पहले बहुत ज़्यादा picky थी. But now I eat. Now I am the big time foodie.
Hmm. Okay. Shannon, how about you? Picky eating?
I would eat anything that was given unless it was like two, three food that I did not like. अगर वो
Okay.
होता then I would not like, I would hate it. But beyond that, ऐसा कुछ problem नहीं था. But
Like,
yes, I was
ma'am, I
very.
don't know what is it, but Shannon seems very calm and composed as a ADHD person. Is it different in men? Because I would come all
नहीं, ऐसी है.
sorry.
I
I
took
think,
medicine in the morning. That's why.
That's how okay.
thank you
People
for
say,
admitting
Swasti, you
that.
come so strongly, you come so strongly onto us that it gets very difficult to do conversation with you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I get
Oh,
all guilty
I'm
then.
sorry. I didn't know that. नहीं.
Yeah, I think with neurotypical friends, I think it's been sometimes, that, hey, I don't mean to disrespect you. I do care about you, but sometimes I'm just too excited.
Hmm.
And sometimes in the middle of a conversation, I think of something and I'm like, I have to say this right now or I'll forget it. It's
Yeah,
too
that's
important.
what I did Shannon ke sath. Sorry,
Yeah.
Shannon, you can continue.
No problem. But I get it. I get that. I remember this person told me that uh, having ADHD is like having this itch, right? Having this very bad itch, and you're trying to tell everyone that this itch is there, but everyone's like, it's not there. But I can feel it. So and they're like, you're not scratching your leg, that's why there's no itch. So that's what it's like, right? Like, because you look calm, or because you look like, you're sitting in one place, people don't realize the chaos that's inside. So
The
that's
worst thing is जब हमको पता होता है कि उनको क्या बोलना है and to wait for them to complete. I'm like, dude, मुझे पता है देखो क्या बोलना है. Please let me complete what you are trying to say.
I think, guys, the conversation has gone on for like almost 2 hours now. I did not. Is it like? Can you just check? Just verifying.
little over 1.5 hours. We started at 1:20ish.
Okay, okay, all right. So, yeah, so there's a time difference between where I'm and where you guys are at, so that's why I'm a little confused. So I think we can definitely do a part two of this. Let's move towards the wrapping up, because when we move towards the wrapping up, that'll be 15-20 minutes somehow. So
Yeah.
one question I've had, what are some of the things that have been just painful to hear as an ADHDer or insensitive on the part of people? What can people do better in order to accommodate you on a day-to-day basis?
Hmm. If they're like, it's okay, even if you're interrupted, it's fine. And just be little patient with us, that if you'll just give us a time, we would manage. Little patience, and just use your words very wisely when you're mocking us or, trying to joke. We're not taking it as a joke. It's going to ruin our years of yours and would take years of therapy to undo to what you just said. So just be little cautious of your words. And yeah, I think Shannon can
Fine.
continue, अगर मुझे बीच में कुछ आएगा ही पक्का से तो मैं बोलूंगी.
Shannon, what can people do a little differently to accommodate you better?
I think this is more targeted towards professionals than people. Is that, do not try to deconstruct someone's existence. Ki ADHD is
Hmm.
not real. ADHD is caused by trauma. ADHD यहाँ से आता है, because every time you're doing this, no, you are taking away someone's identity. Something that they've struggled with all their lives to make sense of it. Someone who just got their diagnosis, and then you're like, no, DSM should not have ADHD. So be very,
Yeah.
very careful with the way someone speaks about it, because you're taking someone's way of making sense with the world, with their pain, with their suffering, and you're just throwing it all under the bus for like, what, 5 minutes of fame. So I'd really caution with that, because it's people's lives. And for non-professionals who are non-ADHDers or partners or whatever, they are also human. Give them also thoda space. Don't let someone with ADHD walk over you.
Understand that हमारे कुछ neurons में ही, it's like a brain thing. It's not that we're doing it unintentionally or making an excuse. It's like a neurological. I don't know why people think it's more behavioral than going on the depths of.
Yeah.
I'd like to be normal. I'd like to be able. I'd
Yeah,
like to. Yeah,
exactly. This is something that
I
people don't
don't want to
understand.
do that.
Yeah, that if we had a choice, why would we want to? Didn't want to fail in three subjects as a second grader when everyone was acing and everyone's parents were showing off our kid is the most brilliant one. I didn't want to be the pit of shame for the family, right? By failing in 3-4 subjects. I did not want to be zoning out. I don't want to be entering wrong details when I'm updating my address on Aadhaar card. I don't want to be like sort of struggling to hold a job.
I don't want to
Maybe,
overshare. I think
yeah,
oversharing is one huge
yeah.
factor with ADHD. Said there were like 2-3 consecutive clients जो इनको ADHD लगा, but it was PTSD. I don't know what's the connection, but
Yeah.
majorly जिनको ADHD लगा था उनको PTSD diagnose हुआ था.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, like, trauma and ADHD can look similar, because trauma can also lead to certain, deep-seated impacts on your body and your biological system, where paying attention can be hard. There can be flashbacks, there can be difficulties in sleeping, there can be difficulties in being motivated and just navigating your everyday life. So sometimes it can be, these two different things which look similar. And when you see an ADHD talking about their experiences, you can see that, hey, that resonates and that's what I have. But sometimes you have to also trust the professionals to do their job, provided if you trust the professional. Feel free to always take a second, third, fourth opinion. Don't stop till you find a mental health professional that, you know, um, kind of actually helps you feel seen. So, in conclusion, what would the two of you like to say?
I'd like to say that it took me a lot of courage to come here and to even my friends and family also warned me on not telling the
Yeah.
followers that you have ADHD because it will impact your practice. But I feel that if I am showing my success, if I'm showing how good I'm doing professionally, it's also my job to tell you how vulnerable and how difficult the life get. So I have also been through depression, anxiety. I've also taken medications. I've also had insomnia, and I'm also diagnosed with ADHD. But what I did was that I was not afraid to open up even now, and I am seeking help for it. I've been taking therapy. So even if you're watching this video and you've resonated with any one of us, and you just want to, you're as clueless as what to do, even though Shrishti ma'am video, I have seen it and it covers everything, you can still just, go there and just be as clueless as where do I have to go. It shouldn't be कि अच्छा psychiatrist है और यही procedure है. Just seek help, and I'm sure that इतना I hope कि हमारे mental health में unity हो, that they would guide you on the right direction. But it, even if you have ADHD, it's completely okay. Even if you don't have, it's no superpower कि
It is
ADHD
not
वाले
a
लोग को,
superpower.
yeah, that
I
they're
mean,
very cool, they have so creative energy and everything. Trust me, it's
let's
very
not
difficult.
glorify. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Hmm.
that is all.
Thank you, Swasti. That was very, very helpful. That, what you just, it's so powerful. Stop glorifying it is a day-to-day struggle, you know. And it does take great strength as a mental health professional to speak on this, because we know that within the the fraternity of mental health professional, there will be a section that will be like, look at these three mental health professionals engaging in this conversation. But yeah, it is what it is. Shannon, what would you like to say in conclusion?
I just like to say that some of you might have recently been diagnosed or are wanting to get diagnosed or relate to the struggle. And the thing is, with adult ADHD diagnosis, it's very different from being diagnosed as a kid. You are,
Yeah.
because once you get diagnosed, you start looking back retrospectively to put all the pieces of like together to make sense of it. And you're like, oh, ये भी इसकी वजह से हुआ था. Damn, मैंने अपने आप को blame किया. So it's all just like that whole process of it. And whether it's your first time going to like a get a diagnosis or what, you're not alone. There's like many people in this field who are well versed with it, good, have good connection, can help with it, or just have been through the same thing. So you are not the first one walking down this road, even if it looks like it's dark and empty and you're all by yourself, because people around you don't get it. It's just we're walking on very similar roads, and you will find that people in this field, despite how much they like to pick up ADHD as a trendy thing to bash, they will also be there for you. So that's all I'd like to say.
Hmm. Right. And I think that few voices don't define the whole truth. Um, I also say that if there are voices that kind of make you feel bad, there are also voices that are helpful. So if at this point you're not, and if you have the financial means, do get diagnosed. It helps. If you don't have the finances, go to nearest government hospital, get it diagnosed, find a clinical psychologist who can do it on a pro bono basis, or else go to a support group. I think a support group can be a very powerful space. Three, find an outlet for I think your energy, right? We have a lot of energy. We need an outlet. I think Shannon, Swasti, and me, the common thread in all of us is we are, trying to follow what is our calling and, give it our best. And that's what we are trying to do and create. So if you find that calling, life becomes so much better. It's not going to be a miserable hell. For me, it was a miserable hell till I didn't find my calling, that is psychology, right? So these are the few things I would like to say, and I'll definitely link some resources in the description box. Again, if this was helpful, do share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, because otherwise you'll never receive notifications when I upload a video. If you have any recommendations for the themes you'd like for me to discuss, if you want to be featured on the channel, I love to interview people with lived experiences of having a certain condition. If you want to be featured, feel free to mail me. I'll mention my mail ID also here. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Thank you, Shannon and Swasti. Their IDs will also be linked in the description box. Go, follow
It
them on
was very
Instagram.
fun. I can do part 2 very
Yeah.
soon.
We will.
Thanks for
We will
having.
do
ये
it.
मेरा आज का therapeutic support group था, to be honest. I feel so validated and I'm going to have a good day.
Me too. I think so. That the conversation and intellectual stimulation that comes along. Uh, okay. Thank you to both of you. I will definitely do a follow-up video sometime in the future. Like let's spend some more time and see
Where are
what
they
the
now?
changes. Where are they now? Yes, definitely we'll do
Yes,
that.
please.
Okay, done.
Hopefully, I'm not with some marriage chuda and stuff.
We never know. We never know what happens. Um, okay. So I am going to now close the recording. Thank you, everyone. Take care.